Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack Nicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you don't have a chance, go check out our website at justsayingfootball.com and follow us on Instagram at justsayingwjs for article and video updates. Super WildCard weekend continues this Monday night when the Arizona Cardinals make their way to LA to take on the Rams. Jack, break down this game for us. We've had some great ones this weekend.
Yeah, home of the Super Bowl this year, LA, hopefully. And, they're hosting the Arizona Cardinals this week for their third matchup of the year. Split over between the two division rivals, one game each this year, and they're both in the playoffs right now. Definitely interesting seasons. We saw the Rams, start 7-1. They had a 3-game losing streak. We were a little worried, but they have picked up, won 5 of their last 6. Really look like a very complete team. And Arizona, I mean, they started 7-0, and you saw them being a playoff team. But, they have struggled in the last couple of weeks. They've lost the last 4 of their last 5 games of the season. We saw them lose to Seattle last week, not something you expected. So, definitely looking at the quarterbacks in this one, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray. Both teams have great defenses and a lot of weapons.
Yeah, and speaking of defenses for the Cardinals, J.J. Watt is back. He dropped a hype video on his Instagram. Go check it out. Fully healthy from the shoulder injury. That's going to be huge for this defense with him and Chandler Jones and Isaiah Simmons, Buda Baker. Defense is really looking solid. Sucks that they still won't have any DeAndre Hopkins in this one with the MCL injury. Their Cliff Kingsbury did come out after the injury and was like divisional championship, kind of like the conference championship or Super Bowl. But that's assuming, and that's assuming that they even make it that far, that he's going to be able to come back for this season. I'm looking at this one, and I think one of the things that worries me the most is Kyler Murray, quite honestly. And I know a lot of people are like, what do you mean, Kyler Murray? What is there to be worried about? Well, he did have an ankle injury, and the last time they played, he threw 2 interceptions, didn't throw a single touchdown, threw almost 50 times, almost 50 pass attempts this game, only 31 completed. It was just really, really difficult for them to move the ball offensively in their second matchup, and that was at SoFi Stadium. So they're coming back for this third matchup, and I'm worried he's going to struggle again. So, Jack, how can you ease my nerves? What is it that you can convince me? Because there's no DeAndre Hopkins, so it's going to be Christian Kirk against Jalen Ramsey. So that means guys like Ronald Moore are going to need to step up. Zach Ertz are going to need to step up. Obviously, James Conner, who's scored 4 rushing touchdowns on the Rams this year, but still has somehow rushed for less than 100 yards against them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Kyler Murray is going to have to step up. You got 2 of the best defensive players in the whole league. We talk about it every week with LA. Jalen Ramsey going against Christian Kirk. Not a matchup you like for Christian Kirk there. And, the Arizona offensive line, we've seen, them struggle with chemistry issue this year. Aaron Donald definitely takes advantage of that. What I love about, this Rams team is they, on paper, they're middle of the pack with scoring, but they don't allow a lot of yards. I think that Kyler is going to have to find ways to do it, but there's going to be a lot of pressure. I don't see a lot of advantages, to calm your nerves right now, because the Cardinals are going to have to first off focus on, keeping up with the points that can be scored on the Rams offense. And then I think that, I trust the Rams offense a lot more against the Cardinals defense this week than I do the Cardinals offense against the Rams defense. So not too many things to calm your nerves. I think this is going to be a really close game, but, high scoring. I feel like there's going to be, a lot of turnovers. Both these teams know how to create turnovers. They're familiar with each other. Just so many storylines going into this one, man.
No, there's a lot. I mean, I think you got to look. Cam Akers is back. We saw him play 20% of the snaps last week. He has potential to maybe have a higher increase in this game, especially given that the Cardinals have such limited film on him. You don't know how the Rams will use him, what Sean McVay will now want to do getting Akers back. And you still have Darrell Henderson. You still have Sony Michel, who's been really picking up the pace since the Henderson injury. Kind of midway through the season, was seeing less than 10 rushing attempts a game. Now seeing over 18 rushing attempts a game, or even just 18 touches in general. So huge step up for him. And also, I mentioned before, but James Conner just really having a great season, not 1,000 yards rusher, but 15 total touchdowns. And like I mentioned, 4 touchdowns alone just against the Rams. And last time these two guys played, he had 94 yards in the air. He was running all over them, 2 touchdowns in both of their meetings. Didn't even run for over more than 55 yards, which is funny in both of these ones, still scoring touchdowns. So I do think way to keep Kyler Murray comfortable in this game, find ways to give the ball to Conner and Chase Edmonds, rely on your run game a little bit more than you're used to seeing. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury is known for the air raid, wants to throw it downfield, and I'm all about it, and I love that. but the way that Kyler Murray played in that second half of the season was so different from that first half.
True.
And I think right now in the first playoff game, going away, Matthew Stafford also doesn't have a ton of playoff experience, having been with the Lions for so long. So you got to keep your young quarterback calm, and that's relying on the run game. But all that being said, I like the Rams. This team has been here before. They were just here last year. They upgraded to get Stafford for a particular reason. He threw for over 40 touchdowns. He had 17 interceptions, but 2 4-interception games, one against the Titans, one against the Vikings. You take away those 4 interception games, or you just take away like the amount that like he actually put up 4. You assume that maybe he would have got a more realistic 2 instead of 4 because those games are so rare. He all of a sudden has a much better season, things like that. So I think you're here for a reason. You're doing with Stafford. You cannot be one and done. If you're LA, after all the trading with him and all the moves to get Miller and OBJ and all the flash and this and giving away picks left and right, if you're out in the first round at home, you begin to worry. You can't be out in the first round. So I'm going with the Rams. McVay knows what's at stake here. Made all these moves. They've been here before. I'm riding with the Rams.
I have to ride with the Rams as well, and it's really because, as you mentioned, both these teams maybe don't have a lot of playoff experience, but one thing Sean McVay has over Cliff Kingsbury for me is going to be the fact that he's been to a Super Bowl, that he has the urge to get back to one after losing it. The Cardinals this year, for me, Cliff Kingsbury was trying to save his job, trying to get the playoffs. He has done that. They have done that. But now this matchup for them is not super favorable, especially with the fact that they are so familiar with this team. And just Sean McVay with the amount of weapons that they have, I think, as I mentioned before, I trust this offense more on this defensive matchup. I think that's the X factor here. I think that Stafford, as you mentioned, not a lot of playoff experience, but with the trade, with everything they've done, this has to be expected that they're coming in at home. The favorite, I ride with the Rams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you got a guy like Cooper Kupp, who's been your go-to, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago in a video, one of Cooper Kupp's worst game, which was a 5 for 64 yard game, actually was against the Cardinals. His next matchup, 13, 123, and 1. So, of course, he's going to be a huge factor in this game. They're going to utilize him a lot. Van Jefferson has also played really well in these 2 games, going for a total of 8 for 148 and 2 in their 2 meetings combined. And his dad is the wide receivers coach of the Cardinals, so just a fun little storyline to watch out for.
True.
And one more thing I got to bring up about the Rams before we get off of this. Eric Weddle just got re-signed to the Rams this week. He hasn't played since 2019. He's back. He's looking for a championship, but he was a great safety when he was around with the Chargers and the Ravens and the Rams. Not to be confused with Eric Waddle, who is a made-up name. Everyone just wants to say it because of Jalen Waddle. But Eric Weddle is now signed with them. He's going to know this defense pretty well. He's going to be a huge factor in this one. Look out for him. Do you think he's going to get an interception in this one?
Oh my God, that would be insane.
First game back since 2019.
I'm more concerned how big his beard's going to be, because when I picture Eric Weddle, I picture him with the visor on and a giant beard. Yeah, and I think that if the beard is long enough, he will get the interception. He always does make the play when he has that. So, look for that. That's my over under there is like 3 inches or more off the face. You're getting a pick.
Anything like this, no pick, Eric. No, you heard it here first. You heard
maybe
it from
a forced fumble, though. Maybe.
But that's not as good.
He's a hard hitter, though.
Yeah, he is.
Forget that he's a hard hitter.
He's going to be the guy who's going after James Conner a lot in this one, especially when they're getting that red zone. But that is all the time that we have. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for listening. Enjoy the Monday night game. It should be a great one.
I'm excited, man. And then Super Wildcard weekend. Crazy weekend so far. We got more stuff coming next week. But enjoy this game tonight. Winner of this plays the Bucks. And Tom Brady, always the matchup you're looking for in the playoffs. So
that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, stay up to date with us. JustSayingFootball.com. Just Saying Football on YouTube for all the videos, and Just Saying No GWJS on Instagram for all your article and video updates. Thank you guys for checking us out.
Enjoy.